Picture this. You're a small business owner who's just caught your fifth shoplifter this year. You've lost £200 worth of stock. The police basically shrug and say, "Not our problem, mate." So you put up a sign calling thieves what they are: scumbags. Perfectly reasonable, right? Wrong. Because apparently in 2024 Britain, the real crime isn't stealing from hardworking shopkeepers. It's hurting the feelings of the people doing the stealing. And now we've got the Prime Minister himself weighing in, basically taking the side of the thieves. Welcome back to UK Pancakes, where British politics gets more bonkers by the day. And today we're diving into a story so backwards it'll make your head spin faster than politicians promised during election season. Meet Rob Davies, a 61-year-old vintage shop owner in Wrexham who's become the unlikely poster boy for common sense in a world gone mad. Rob runs a run-ragged vintage shop, and after being robbed blind by 5 separate thieves in 12 months, he decided to fight back the only way he could, with a handwritten sign calling shoplifters scumbags. Revolutionary stuff. Truly. But here's where it gets juicy. Instead of arresting the thieves, the police showed up at Rob's door demanding he remove the sign because it might be provocative and potentially offensive. I'm sorry, but offensive to WHO exactly? The people stealing his livelihood? But wait, it gets better, or worse, depending on how much faith you have left in this country. When journalists asked Downing Street if Keir Starmer agreed with calling thieves scumbags, his spokesman said, and I quote, "It is not the language I would directly use." So let me get this straight. We got a Prime Minister who won't call a spade, or in this case, won't call a scumbag. What's next? Referring to burglars as unauthorized home visitors and murderers as life-challenged individuals? Now, before you think this is just one isolated incident of bureaucratic madness, let me paint you the full picture of what's happening to Britain's shopkeepers. The Information Commissioner's Office, because of course they're involved, has issued guidance warning retailers that shaming shoplifters could breach data protection laws. Yes, you heard that right. In a country where you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a CCTV camera, apparently putting up a photo of someone stealing from your shop is crossing the line. The ICO warns that displaying images of thieves might not be appropriate behavior, because heaven forbid we make criminals feel uncomfortable about their life choices. Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick called this advice madness, which frankly feels like an understatement. It's like calling the Titanic a minor shipping incident. Jenrick argues that shoplifters should be named and shamed, suggesting we should let the public know about people with a track record of stealing in their towns. Revolutionary concept. Robert, holding criminals accountable for their actions. Who would have thought it? And speaking of accountability, let's talk numbers that'll make your blood boil. The British Retail Consortium revealed that only 2.5% of shoplifting offences are actually recorded by police each year. That's not a typo, 2.5%. 50,000 shoplifting incidents go unreported daily because businesses have simply given up on the police. That's like having a fire service that only responds to 2.5% of house fires and then wondering why everything's burning down. The situation in pharmacies is particularly grim, and when I say grim, I mean absolutely apocalyptic. Henry Gegg from the National Pharmacy Association describes the situation as both unacceptable and appalling. Strong words from someone who probably hasn't used harsh language since the Blair administration. 9 out of 10 pharmacists experienced shoplifting incidents in the past year, with thefts of medical supplies increasing by 88%. We're not talking about someone nicking a Mars bar here. These are essential medications being stolen while police are busy telling shopkeepers their signs are too mean. But here's where the story gets properly dystopian. Pharmacy owner Ashley Cowan witnessed thieves literally burning, cutting, and sawing through steel grills to access drug stock. These aren't opportunistic teenagers grabbing sweets. These are organized criminals treating pharmacies like their personal Amazon warehouse. And the system's response? Have you tried asking them nicely not to steal? The human cost of this madness is staggering. Sanjeev Panesar, who owned the Birmingham pharmacy, describes a noticeable rise in hostility toward staff that's having a lasting effect on job satisfaction, morale, and feelings of safety at work. Pharmacy workers are now wearing body cameras, hiring security guards, and living in fear while going to work, all because we created a system where the criminals have more rights than their victims. Meanwhile, back in Wrexham, Rob Davies is standing firm. When police told him to remove his provocative sign, he told them where they could stick their data protection concerns. The sign is staying, and I may even get a bigger one, he declared, becoming the hero Britain needs but doesn't deserve. Rob's received overwhelming support from fellow shopkeepers who are all in the same boat, presumably the HMS Titanic of British retail, slowly sinking while the authorities rearrange the deck chairs and worry about proper terminology. The most infuriating part of this entire saga isn't just a bureaucratic insanity, it's a complete inversion of priorities. We live in a country where calling a thief a scumbag is considered more problematic than the actual theft, where data protection laws are weaponized to protect criminals while victims are told to pipe down and think of the thieves' feelings. It's like having a justice system designed by someone who fundamentally misunderstood the concept of justice. North Wales Police, displaying the kind of tone-deaf response we've come to expect, said they take all reports of shoplifting extremely seriously and are committed to combating retail theft. Really? Because showing up at a victim's shop to demand they remove a mean sign doesn't exactly scream serious commitment to fighting crime. It screams we completely lost the plot and forgotten whose side we're supposed to be on. The broader implications of Starmer's refusal to call thieves scumbags reveal something deeply troubling about modern British leadership. We have a Prime Minister so concerned with being politically correct that he can't bring himself to condemn criminals in plain English. This isn't about being polite. It's about having the moral clarity to distinguish between right and wrong, between victims and perpetrators, between people trying to make an honest living and those trying to steal it from them. When Shadow Home Office Minister Katie Lamb shared a story about a constituent ordered by police to remove pictures of suspected shoplifters despite providing CCTV, card details, and license plates, she hit the nail on the head. Our system should crush the lawless and protect the law-abiding. It does the opposite. That's not just a political soundbite. It's an accurate diagnosis of a system that's completely backwards. The fact that Rob Davies felt compelled to put up his sign in the first place tells you everything about the state of British policing. He caught 5 thieves red-handed in 12 months, reported them dutifully, watched the police do nothing, and finally gave up on official channels. His handwritten note wasn't vigilantism. It was a desperate act of a man abandoned by the system meant to protect him. What's particularly maddening is that Davies was losing almost his entire monthly profit to theft. We're talking about a man's livelihood being systematically destroyed while the authorities fret about proper language. The police response to his situation perfectly encapsulates everything wrong with modern Britain. Ignore the actual crime. Police the victim's reaction to it. The Information Commissioner's Office defending their guidance by saying they don't set strict requirements and provide guidance to help organizations use people's information in a way that is lawful, fair, and proportionate misses the point entirely. When law-abiding citizens are more afraid of data protection breaches and criminals are of getting caught, you created a system that serves everyone except the people it's meant to protect. This story isn't really about one shopkeeper's sign, or even about Keir Starmer's reluctance to use colorful language. It's about a country that's lost its way so completely that we're more concerned with the comfort of criminals and the rights of their victims. It's about a political class so disconnected from reality that they can't see how backwards their priorities have become. Rob Davies putting up a bigger sign isn't just defiance. It's a metaphor for what ordinary Britons need to do when their institutions fail them. Sometimes calling a scumbag is exactly what's needed, not because it's polite, but because it's true. And in a country where truth has become controversial, telling it becomes an act of rebellion. The real question isn't whether shoplifters should be called scumbags. It's why we need to have this conversation at all. When did we become a society more concerned with criminals' feelings and victims' rights? When did data protection become more important than actual protection? And when did our leaders become so spineless that they can't even condemn theft without qualifying their language? Thanks for watching UK Pancakes. Don't forget to subscribe for more political pancakes that'll flip your perspective on British politics. And let me know in the comments whether you think Rob Davies should get that bigger sign. Until next time, keep flipping those political pancakes.